Hello, fellow investors. If I had to ask you a question today, which one would you rather have? $1 million cash or a penny that doubles every day for the next 30 days? And so that question is a question we usually asked when I was in the financial services. I used to have a side hustle selling insurance and mutual funds and things of that nature, financial products. And so that's the question we would ask when we meet a customer, when we're trying to introduce them to the concept of compounding. Which one would you rather have? $1 million cash or a penny that doubles every day for the next 30 days? Of course, I hope you know what the answer is. The answer should be you want a penny because a penny is going to be more than the $1 million at the end of 30 days. I'm not going to go into the numbers, but it comes out to I think $5 million or so. I think that's what the number is, depending on whether it's 30 days or 31 days. But anyway, and so if somebody had to give you an opportunity, whether to have equity in a company or money, which one would you go for? It depends, right? It depends. However, most of the time, you want to go for ownership because you know what? It's proven companies just, companies do fail, right? 96 out of 100 companies do fail. That's just what it is. But the ones that do make it, really, they have such great success that not have gotten equity in those companies is just I just want to call it asinine. Anyway, let's look at a video that I want us to learn from. Actually, three videos that we're gonna consider and see how these individuals handled the issue of equity. So let's go ahead and do this.
Wise. I mean, very, very well. Is there something that you missed out on that you think, why didn't I do that?
Yes, man, it still haunt me today, Ellen. I tell you, when I first came out of college, all the shoe companies came after me. And it was this guy named Phil Knight who just had started Nike. All the other companies offered me money, but they couldn't offer me money because they just started. So he said something, stocks. I'm going to give you a lot of stocks. I didn't know nothing about stocks. I'm from the inner city. We don't know about stocks, at that time. Boy, did I make a mistake.
Boy, oh boy.
I'm still kicking myself.
Oh.
Every time I'm in a Nike store, I get mad, right?
Yeah.
I could have been making money off of everybody buying Nikes right now.
Oh, man.
So,
yeah, but unless you have somebody really explaining that to you. And who knew that Nike was going to be what Nike is?
Yeah.
But, man.
Thanks. You didn't make me feel better.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now, everybody loves you so much. Do you think about running for any type of office?
Anyhow, as you can see, so here's Magic Johnson, and he was offered a stake in Nike to make a deal with Nike when he was 19 years old, and he chose not to take the equity deal, but instead he took the Converse deal, which was money, because he didn't understand what equities were, or what equity was, so to say. And so the numbers, when you look at them, where Nike was in '79, of course, it went public in 1980. The projection is that he could have had today, he would be worth about $5.2 billion with a B had he taken that deal. Now today he is a billionaire. I think at 1 point something $billion. But in comes another guy, Michael Jordan. He did that deal. He did a deal where he had a certain percentage of the sales of his shoe, his brand, and whatnot. And because of that, Michael Jordan is a billionaire today because of that. And so that's why when I'm talking about ownership, when I'm talking about equity, it's very important that people understand that working, having a job, is not how you build wealth. The way you build wealth is to actually have equity, have assets that appreciate in value over time. And so I also want to share with you guys one more video. You probably know about this one, but the story about this one is just is tragic if you actually think about it. And once we finish watching this video, you would understand why I say this story is tragic, because it just is, and it just is. And so let's go ahead and watch the video.
Ronald G. Wayne, born May 17, 1934, in the midst of the Great Depression. Jobs had this focus. Once he got an idea in his head, that was it. And you never wanted to be between him and where he wanted to go. You'd wind up with footprints on your forehead. This is the contract that I personally typed up. He regarded me as something of a minor mentor because I was somewhat more diplomatic than he was. There was a problem he was having at that time with Steve Wozniak. I said, bring him over to the house, we'll sit down, we'll chat. And it took me 45 minutes, certainly less than an hour, to get him to understand, no, you can't do it that way for a business enterprise. Okay, fine. He bought into it, he understood. And at that moment in time, Steve Jobs says, we are going to form a company. "12 days later, I went down to the registrar's office and had my name taken off the contract. If the company goes poof, we are individually liable for the debts of the company. Well, Jobs and Wozniak didn't have two nickels to rub together. I had a house, and a bank account, and a car, and I was reachable. Some months later, I get this letter in the mail with a check for $1,500. I believe it was $1,500. And the letter says, all you got to do is sign away every possible interest you could have in the Apple Computer Company, and the check is yours. Well, I figured that I had already done that. As far as I was concerned, it was found money, so I went ahead and I signed.
I was surprised to learn that Steve Jobs was looking for a mentor. I wouldn't have thought him the type to be open to any sort of constructive criticism from what I read of him. I agree. People must be fascinated by Steve Jobs and just what he was.
Oh, of course. Man, yeah. And should be. He was a fascinating man. Who made Apple what it was? Obviously, Jobs' technique. All right. Was Jobs a nice guy? In many ways, no. But that doesn't matter. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what did it take to make Apple what it was.
I think people will watch this and they'll say, surely, as Ron's about to go to sleep, you must often think of what could have been with Apple. I mean, do you?
I knew exactly what would have been if I'd have stayed with the company. I would have wound up heading a very large documentation department at the back of the building, shuffling papers for the next 20 years of my life, and that was not the future that I saw for myself. Find something that you enjoy doing so much that you'd be willing to do it for nothing, and you'll never work a day in your life.
So actually, the video talks about 60 billion. That's about that's a few years ago. Right now, Apple is that's when Apple was worth $600 billion when the 10% was 66 billion. Today, Apple, June 2024, Apple is worth $3 trillion. So Ron would have been worth $300 billion had he held on to his position, or had he held on to his stake of 10% in Apple. Of course, you never know. He would have sold just like anybody else, maybe ended up with 2%, whatever it was. He would have been one of the largest shareholders of the most valuable company as of, just a few months ago, before it was surpassed by Nvidia and Microsoft. But that's the power of equity. Could he have seen the future? Who knows? Right? Could he have seen the future? Could he have known that, hey, you know what, this is the decision I should make? Who knows? But there's one guy who actually had the foresight to be able to see the future and say, you know what, instead of getting a salary, I'll get equity. And that's a guy named Steve Ballmer. So Steve Ballmer made a deal when he joined Microsoft. He's the former CEO of Microsoft. He made a deal with those guys that he was going to get a percentage of all the sales or the business that he brought into the business, right? A certain percentage of all the sales that he brought into a percentage of the sales that he brought into the company. And so at some point they couldn't just afford him. So they said, you know what, instead of paying you this way, let's just pay you in equity. Today, Steve Ballmer, is the largest shareholder of Microsoft stock at 4%. 4%. He's a billionaire. He's one of the few billionaires, actually the richest billionaire, who became rich from not having ever found a company, but just happened to be in the right place at the right time. He is the richest employee ever. If you saw what I'm saying, I think it's number 35 or number 30 of the richest people in the world, and that is because of his position or his stake in the 4% stake in Microsoft. And so let's see if we can see what Ballmer had to say.
I love this company. Yes!
Ballmer started working at Microsoft in its early days. In 1980, he became the company's 24th employee.
500?
And his oversized personality became known fast through videos like this, promoting Windows 1.0 in 1985.
Watch as Windows integrates Lotus 123 with Miami Vice.
And with Bill Gates in a Night at the Roxbury spoof to this 90s club hit.
Steve Ballmer.
In 1998, Ballmer rose to president, then CEO in 2000, taking the company through hits like Xbox and Kinect, and flops like Windows Vista.
Our job is to make sure that not only is PC not dead, but we're constantly innovating it, reimagining it.
He stepped down as CEO of Microsoft just 3 months ago, but remains on the board of directors and is a bigger shareholder than Bill Gates. He's worth more than $20 billion, according to Forbes, and sits at number 35 on the magazine's annual billionaires list. Ballmer grew up near Detroit, where his father was a manager at Ford Motor Company.
All right, as you can see, that's what equity can do for you. That's what owning businesses can do for you. And so I want to encourage you guys, as you embark on your investing journey, that this idea of we don't own just stocks, we own businesses, right? We it's not just tickers. Tickers or Amazon and Microsoft, MST, whatever, ZM or name it, ABC, ZDY, whatever, right? It's not just tickers. Behind those tickers are companies, and when you have an ownership in a company, it can transform your life. I have one more thing I want to add to that, is that my people worked in mines, right? They worked in mines, and unfortunately, even though they worked in mines, they never had equity, right? They were employed as miners in those mines. They never had equity in those mines whatsoever. And so those mines at that particular time, here's a share certificate. When you buy assets in a company, they give you a certificate. This is what it looks like. So here's a company, In 1914, when my ancestors joined the mine, right? First of all, they left the jungle, joined mines to work, for money and whatnot. And this company is worth $600,000, 600,000 pounds at the time, and every share was 10 shillings a share. So in today's money, we're talking this company is worth, in today's money, 600,000 pounds is about 44 million pounds today. And that 10 shillings is about $37 pounds today, right? And so one of the things what you don't realize is if we invested that $45 million for 110 years. Now what I did, because my calculator could not let me do the compounding over more than 100 years, I just did 100 years. So if we let this money compound at 10%, over 100 years without reinvesting the dividends and stuff like that, just straight equity, let's just put our money there. And this individual bought 8 shares, right? 8 shares of this company at 10 shillings a share. So that would be like investing $300. That money, that the $37, about $300 in today's money, $300 invested in 1914. I'm just using those numbers so you can relate to them. Over 100 years, these 8 shares today will be worth $4 million. $4 million. That's how much those shares would be today. If you invested $300 over 100 years, there will be even more than that because there's a 14 years which I didn't factor in, which pushes the number even higher. The difference is, my people, the people right here, we're looking at these guys right here, didn't have an opportunity to be able to invest in these assets. Right? They didn't have an option to invest in these assets, and therefore they were workers. The parents who invested in these assets, the children of the companies like De Beers and companies like Anglo American, companies like just several, name them. Those kids today are benefiting from the investments that were made a long time ago. Today, my people have nothing to show for all the hard work they put in. They were paid, and that was it. That's the difference that ownership makes, right? When you own a stock, you're owning a business that over time, yes, can a stock go bust? Yes, they do. But over time, when you invest in good companies, they appreciate over time. I've shown you what happened had Magic Johnson invested. You'd be worth $5.2 billion. Of course, Ron Wayne, when you could have been worth $300 billion. Of course, the person who did it right was Steve Ballmer. He's now worth, right now, probably $50+ billion. And here I am today. My ancestors could not leave me anything. Why? Because they didn't have an opportunity to invest in these equities. And I'm telling you today that when you have an opportunity, all these equities I've been trying to share with you guys, all these ideas about investing, as in, hey, look, get a position, buy McDonald's, buy Starbucks, buy Pepsi, Coca-Cola, whatever. Just if you use those products, you just buy them, hold on to those assets. One day you'll be able to give your kids those assets in whatever form. But you know what? You're not going to leave them your job. You can't leave them your job. Just like my sister could not leave me a job. The only thing they could have left me is assets. But they didn't have an opportunity to be able to buy shares. Today, you and I have an opportunity. We have access to more than 55,000 companies that are listed on the stock market today. What excuses do we have? None. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, click the like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.